Good evening, here we go with putting the R250 back together for you, Paul. I've prepped quite a lot of bits and pieces already, so this should just be quite a simple reassembly. So to kick off with, I took the grill out and I've given that a clean with a fine brush just to get rid of all the dust and particles inside. That is here. And we're going to put that back inside, and there are those dreaded 4 nuts that I keep losing inside the nut driver to put back on, but I'm actually going to thread lock them. This will reduce any future vibration and keep the audio quality at its best. So it is just a case of popping in the speaker plate and then putting on some thread lock, which I use the back of a brush just to put a spot on each one. Tiniest amount needed. After all, it is only to lock the nut, just to stop any future movement, obviously vibration while you're listening to whichever music you're choosing to listen to. And it's a case of bobbing 4 of the nuts back on. So that's 1, 2. I did have a look at the board that you'd sent me, and I can see that you replaced it with a TDA7231, but we were right, it does have another chip, which as I'd emailed you earlier, I mentioned that the board that was in this R250 was a board used latterly in the Roberts revival, if you can call it a revival. It's the Roberts R761, which is quite a modern thing, so maybe just one day they thought to themselves, hang on a minute, we've got quite a lot of these, let's put them in the R250s and push the R250s for a little bit longer, rather than buy the bespoke board. Right, what I will do as well is just loosen the ones off for the speaker. Just turn the speaker around a little bit as well, that will make access a little bit easier a little bit later on. I'll take the 2 nuts off the speaker brackets, and I'll do the same thing again. Put some thread lock on the threads, and do the next one as well. It was really well packed, this, when you posted it to me. I wish everybody did this. You know, all the radios that I buy for parts and not working. It's nice that somebody's actually taken the care and thought about it a little bit, rather than just chucking it in a shoebox. Let's get those speaker brackets tightened up now with the speaker more centralised than it was. This makes connecting the speaker wires up a little later quite a bit easier. So there we have, they are all thread locked now. It'll probably take about 20 minutes to set to go off. So now we can go with the most important part, and that is your radio. Already, like I say, I've already changed the faceplate, cleaned it, put the control knobs and the switches back on, which were from from the set that you actually sent me. So outwardly it is going to look identical to the one that you sent. It's just on the inside. I don't know if we can pick this up. Let me just have a look. Can maybe just make out. It's got the TDA7231 on there. I've changed the capacitors as well. I've already tuned this, so it should just be a case of popping it back into the case. Again, famous last words, I'm usually good for those. That's gone in remarkably well. Just going to put the sideboard in on the left hand side. There we go. So there it is, nice and secure. I can now pop the, because I turned the speaker around earlier, I should make popping the speaker cables on a lot easier. Pop it onto its roof and connect the power cable. I've put these together before and forgotten all sorts of things. Only when I'm videoing. When I'm not videoing, I tend to get everything right first time. This video malarkey is pretty new to me. I just thought it might be a good way of documenting sometimes what I do. Not just a one-trick pony. I can turn my hand to all sorts of repairs and fixes. Obviously, particularly with radios, I'm not just a Roberts repair guy. I'm into radios big time, really. I've got several to be getting on with, but this one should be pretty straightforward. Put the aerial cable on that. And then just check the aerial, make sure that it's all good. I've greased the aerial as well, so it should be nice and free with minimal resistance, easy to use, and shouldn't cause any future problems. Did have a slight bend in the end of the aerial. I've got a special gadget that I've used just to straighten the very tip of the aerial, because as R250, Roberts R250 radios go, and this is a particularly nice one. It's been really well looked after. Always a pleasure to work on something like this. Some of the ones that I see, some of the ones that I buy to repair, it's like they've been underwater sometimes, chucked in the back of a shed and forgotten about for 20 years. So we've got the side plate in, the aerial speakers connected, the power's connected. So now, just close the back up a moment, pop in the shoulder screws, just making sure I pick the shiniest ones that I've got from the box. He did send some, but they did look a little less shiny than I would like. Just in there. Go, yeah. I do like everything to match when I'm putting these back together. I do my best with all the radios whenever I can. So that is now back together. So, system checklist. Control knobs, top plate, switches, aerial, shoulder screws, grill. Glad I checked. Inside, power, speakers, aerial wire. Just your backboard to put in now, which just completes it, and puts the finishing touch to it. There should be 5 screws, all neatly packed up in a little bag inside the radio on the way here, thank you. Although I do have a drawer full of these things. When I've robbed, when I've bought faulty radios before and they're past repairing, they are useful for spares, and I always break everything down. I take every nut and bolt and screw and wire and rubber foot and hinge, aerials, wave change switches. I desolder a lot of things from the boards just to put them in my spares. It saves buying them. The audio chip that we would have needed for your original one, I've actually got some on order, but again they're coming from Russia, so they'll probably take a week or 10 days to get here. So I'll get on with that one at my leisure. But I think we're all back together, and this is the moment of truth really, because I can close it back up now, turn it around, try and show it in its best light. Talking about lights, let's have a little bit more light on the situation, and we'll pop some power in. Make sure it's switched off before we add the power. Add the power.
There are a lot of initiatives within tennis at a club level that you can do to upgrade those taboos. We've had to find something festive to remember the day by. Generally, it's pretty. Every year when we decorate. 20 minutes to put it up this year. A genius move, I think. So, okay. Okay. Authorities when they've made their minds up. With music.
Paris, featuring Sam Smith and Fun. 12. Rockhampton, 1999 Wildfire.
This is Smooth Classics at 7 on Classic FM, and this is a piece by Pablo Casals called Song of the Birds.
The official Vodafone Big Top 40.
Starts to look a little bit tired just before Christmas. Lay some fresh foliage cut from the garden or a local park to pack it up. Ivy looks particularly pretty. It's also a great idea to bring the natural feel to a fake tree. And I also add fresh flowers to my tree on Christmas Eve. Again, I like that one.
Very good. Thank you very much indeed for your Christmas decoration hacks. And just before we play this Christmas song...
So there you go, that's all back together, one end of the scale to the other. Everything seems to tune absolutely fine. I've tried it on the internal aerial. I've also had it attached to my external aerial, which I'll just do again, just to double check the lower end.
The best is yet to come.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. I'll play this.
together, all ready to go. I'll pop that back in the box for you and drop it off with the courier tomorrow. You should receive it early next week, Monday, Tuesday. And thank you very much for sending it in. I'm glad we could get it sorted. I hope you and your wife get back to enjoying this instead of it probably being stuck at the back of a cupboard, as I think you said it had been for a couple of years. I was glad that we could bring it back to life for you. Thank you.